If you've lost your spouse and you're currently collecting Social Security, I need you to stay with me right now because there is a very real chance that the check landing in your account every single month is smaller than what you're legally owed. And I'm not talking about a small difference. A federal audit completed just this past April found that the Social Security Administration underpaid 8,618 widows and widowers a combined $50.4 million. That works out to an average of $5,848 per person, and that's just the cases they reviewed. The same report found that 41% of surviving spouses either received the wrong amount or were never told about benefit options that could have put hundreds more in their pocket every single month. The Social Security Administration did not call those people. They did not send a letter, and most of them still don't know. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what's going wrong, who it's affecting, and the 3 specific steps you can take right now to make sure you're getting every dollar you've earned. Stay with me through all 3, because the third one is the step most widows skip entirely, and it's the one that can recover the most money. Before we get into it, if you're not subscribed to Alana for Seniors yet, please do that right now and turn on the notification bell. Here's why it matters specifically for you. The rules around survivor benefits, Medicare, and Social Security change every single year. When they change, the SSA updates a page on their website. That's it. They don't send you a personal explanation. They don't call. And if you miss a change that affects your benefit, the money doesn't wait for you. What I do on this channel is take those changes, go through the federal reports and the official SSA guidelines, and break them down in plain language specifically for the people they affect. The people who are subscribed here find out about changes like this one before the money slips through the cracks. The ones who aren't tend to find out much later, sometimes years later. Hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and let's get into this together. So let me start with the why, because understanding why this happens is what helps you catch it. The Social Security Administration calculates your survivor benefit using something called the primary insurance amount, which is based on your late spouse's lifetime earnings record. Sounds straightforward, but the actual calculation for survivor benefits is more complex than it is for regular retirement, and it involves a specific formula that SSA employees have to apply manually in certain cases. That formula is called the Widow and Widowers Indexing Computation, and the SSA's own Inspector General found that employees were either skipping it entirely or applying it incorrectly, specifically in cases where the deceased spouse passed away before the age of 62. Now here's what that means in real life. If your husband or wife passed before they turned 62, there is a specific way the SSA is required to adjust their past earnings to calculate what your survivor benefit should be. When they don't do it right, your benefit comes out lower than it's supposed to be, not by a little. In the cases the Inspector General reviewed, the average underpayment was $5,848. And here's the part that's hard to sit with. You wouldn't know. The deposit still comes. The amount still looks like a real Social Security check. There's no asterisk on it saying this number may be wrong. You accept it because why wouldn't you? You assume the government calculated it correctly. That assumption is costing thousands of widows and widowers real money every single month. But that is not the only way survivors are being shortchanged. There are actually 3 separate reasons your survivor benefit might be lower than it should be, and most people only know about one of them if they know about any at all. Reason number 1 is the calculation error I just described, the SSA getting the math wrong on your benefit without telling you. Reason number 2 is something called the switching strategy, and this is the one that almost nobody explains to widows, even though the SSA is supposed to. Here's how it works. As a surviving spouse, you're eligible for 2 different Social Security benefits. One is the survivor benefit based on your late spouse's earnings record. The other is your own retirement benefit based on your personal work history. Now, most people assume you just take the higher one and that's it. But the Social Security rules actually allow you to do something much smarter. You can claim one benefit first while letting the other one grow, and then switch later. Let me give you a real example so this lands. Say your name is Patricia. your late husband had a strong earnings record, and your survivor benefit at your full retirement age would be $1,900 a month. Patricia also worked most of her life, and her own retirement benefit at 62 would be around $1,200. But if she waits until 70, it grows to $2,100 thanks to delayed retirement credits, which add about 8% per year. Here's the move most widows don't know about. Patricia can start collecting her survivor benefit right now, even as early as age 60, to give herself income while she waits. And then at age 70, she switches to her own benefit, which has now grown to $2,100. That's $200 more per month for the rest of her life compared to just taking the survivor benefit alone. On the flip side, if Patricia's own benefit is smaller than her survivor benefit even at 70, she'd do the opposite. Take her own retirement early, let her survivor benefit stay intact, and then switch to the full survivor benefit at her full retirement age. The right answer depends on your specific numbers, but here's what matters. This option exists, and the Social Security Administration is required to inform you about it. The Inspector General found in an official audit that SSA employees were not consistently doing that. People were walking out of SSA offices or hanging up the phone without ever being told that a switching strategy was on the table. That is money left behind, not because the program doesn't offer it, but because nobody mentioned it. Reason number 3 applies to a very specific group of widows and widowers, but the dollars involved are the largest of all. If your late spouse worked in a job that didn't pay into Social Security, a public school teacher, a firefighter, a state or local government employee, a federal worker hired before 1984 under the old civil service retirement system, you may have been receiving a survivor benefit that was dramatically reduced or wiped out entirely under a rule called the Government Pension Offset. That rule is gone. The Social Security-Fairness Act was signed into law in January 2025, and it eliminated the government pension offset completely. What that means for widows is this. If your survivor benefit was reduced or eliminated because of a government pension, whether yours or your late spouse's, you may now be owed that full benefit going back to January 2024. Some widows who had their survivor benefit completely wiped out to zero are now receiving over $1,100 more per month and a retroactive lump sum payment between $15,000 and $17,000. But the SSA will not automatically reach out to everyone. As of right now, some complex cases are still working through the system. If you haven't verified that your account was corrected, you need to do that. And I'll tell you exactly how in the steps coming up. All right, let's get to the 3 steps. Write these down. This is what actually moves the money. Step 1, verify your benefit calculation at SSA.gov. Go to SSA.gov and log into your My Social Security account. If you've never done this, it takes about 10 minutes to set up. You'll need your Social Security number and an email address. Once you're logged in, pull up your current benefit statement and look at your monthly benefit amount. Then call the Social Security Administration directly. The number is 1-800-772-1213. When an agent picks up, say these exact words. I am a surviving spouse and I want to verify that the widow and widower's indexing computation was applied correctly to my survivor benefit calculation. Write that down before you call. That specific language tells the agent exactly which calculation to check and which part of your record to pull. If your spouse passed away before the age of 62, this question is especially important. That's the population the Inspector General specifically flagged. If the agent can't answer with certainty, ask them to escalate the review or ask to speak with a technical expert. You are entitled to that. If an error is found, you can request back pay. The SSA can issue retroactive payment for the underpaid months. Step 2. Ask about your switching options. When you have the SSA representative on the line, after you've verified the calculation, say this. I'd also like to understand my options for switching between my survivor benefit and my own retirement benefit. Can you show me both benefit amounts and help me understand the best claiming strategy for my situation? If you haven't yet reached your full retirement age, or if you haven't yet started collecting your own retirement benefit, this conversation could be worth thousands of dollars over your lifetime. The representative can pull both numbers, your current survivor benefit amount and your projected own retirement benefit at different ages, and walk you through the comparison. If the survivor benefit is higher than your own would ever be, you stay where you are. But if your own retirement benefit with delayed credits would eventually surpass the survivor benefit, you want to know that now and not at 71 when it's too late to act on it. One thing to know here: survivor benefits do not grow past your survivor full retirement age. Unlike your own retirement benefit, which grows 8% a year up to 70, survivor benefits max out at your full retirement age, so there is no benefit to waiting past that point on the survivor side. The switching strategy only works when your own retirement benefit, with delayed credits, can grow large enough to make the switch worthwhile. Step 3. If your benefit was reduced by the government pension offset, apply for your restoration now. This step is specifically for widows and widowers whose survivor benefit was cut because of a government pension. Go to SSA.gov and search for the Social Security-Fairness Act page, then call 1-800-772-1213 and say these words: I am a surviving spouse whose survivor benefit was reduced or eliminated by the government pension offset. I want to verify that my account has been fully corrected under the Social Security-Fairness Act and that I have received all retroactive payments owed to me. If your case is still pending, ask for the expected processing date and ask them to note that you called to follow up. If they tell you the correction is complete, ask them to confirm the retroactive payment amount you received and the new monthly benefit amount going forward. And if you were never receiving a survivor benefit at all because the government pension offset eliminated it entirely, this may require you to file a brand new application. The SSA cannot automatically reinstate a benefit that was denied outright. You have to ask. That is the step most people miss, the one that leaves the biggest check sitting in the system uncollected. Let me put real numbers on this so it doesn't stay abstract. The average survivor benefit as of March 2026, according to the Social Security Administration's own data, is $1,926 a month. If your benefit has been miscalculated even by 10%, that's nearly $200 a month you're not receiving. Over 5 years, that's $12,000. Over 10 years, $24,000. Every month you don't catch it, that gap compounds. For widows who were affected by the government pension offset and are now eligible for restored benefits, the average retroactive lump sum being issued is between $15,000 and $17,000, and the ongoing monthly increase for some is over $1,100 every single month for the rest of their life. And for widows who discover the switching strategy for the first time, the difference between a suboptimal claiming path and the right one can easily reach $50,000 to $100,000 in lifetime income, depending on age and benefit amounts. These are not small numbers. They are the difference between stretching a budget and actually living. I want to say something directly before we close. Losing a spouse is one of the hardest things a person goes through, and navigating the Social Security system on top of grief while also trying to make decisions that affect the rest of your financial life, that's a lot to carry. The SSA is not your enemy, but it is an enormous system, and it makes mistakes. And the burden of catching those mistakes falls on you, not because you did anything wrong, but because that's how it works. And someone needs to tell you that plainly. So here's what I want you to do today. Log into SSA.gov, look at your benefit amount, and make that phone call using the exact language I gave you. If you found this helpful, please share it with one person you know who is widowed and collecting Social Security right now. One conversation could mean $5,848 back in their account. That's not a small thing. That's a real difference in someone's life. Subscribe to Alana for Seniors, turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next video.